Yes, yes, yes. Again, I think that's one of the best decisions I made was going to Clemson, and especially that program because like my goal was pretty narrow in terms of I really wanted to do something with healthcare, and I knew that pretty much. I mean, if you look at the Clemson alumni network from healthcare architecture, I mean, they're the heads of every single big major firm, and they're doing really, really amazing things. And that network is so tight knit. So I knew that having that and learning from those people are like I couldn't get a better education and experience and leverage that. So that has been really, really valuable. Versus if I still had that interest in healthcare and say I went to a Berkeley, for example, and not to say I couldn't absolutely still do great in healthcare architecture, but I think I would have had a disadvantage versus coming from a program like Clemson. And also, I mean, just the rigor of the academics, they do train you to be a generalist specialist degree. So on top of the healthcare classes, I also had to take all the regular Master of Architecture requirements and classes, right? So it really is a rigorous program to train you in both modes, but all of my projects were very focused on health and wellness in the built environment, but not just, oh, I'm going to design a hospital or I'm going to do this clinic. It was very much more about, One Health and the environmental health and sustainable impacts on building structures and kind of seeing it as a more holistic view of health in the environment and not just, punctuated by, hospital here, clinic here, like something really prescriptive, I should say. Yeah, so that was really helpful. And I think also Clemson allowed me to, and especially my relationship with David Allison, who's the head of the healthcare program, he was the biggest influence and mentor to me in that program. I can't say enough good things about Dave, although he's tough. He's really tough, and that program was very tough. He really also allowed me a lot of opportunities to do. I mean, I think I was the atypical Clemson student in that I just kind of crafted my own like itinerary, even from the beginning, right, of wanting to go and study abroad in Genoa. But I also did a thesis or graduate student thesis where I was looking at, actually, you know what, I'm going to step back a minute. Before then, when I was a student, a friend of mine and classmate of mine and now colleague, she and I were, it was back in 2015 during the Ebola epidemic, which is kind of the times now. It's still very relevant, but we entered into a competition for a mobile isolation unit to curb communicable disease outbreaks for specifically in East Africa, and we won the competition. It was an international competition from the Union of International Architects Public Health Group, and that kind of jump-started my interest in kind of doing these more developmental projects and also prototypes and kind of what happens to those models afterwards and how can you have a little bit more of a sustainable implementation of those. So that kind of led to my thesis work, which the following year I won a big fellowship to look at storefront primary care delivery and prototype healthcare facilities that would be integrated into developing context. And I got to go to Ethiopia and in Addis Ababa and help implement them. So, and then from there, I won the Global Health Corps Fellowship, which took some of that work further into the stuff that I was working on at Mass. So it was kind of this big snowball of of things. But again, I would never have been able to do that without going to a program like Clemson and having those opportunities and winning those competitions and having those fellowship and awards that were able to support me.